Welcome to a special edition of the Tim podcast. This is a JLT Spotlight where we look at businesses that shape tomorrow. I'm Dietmar Gerber, founder of Just Like That Productions, and we are here discussing pressing matters in the healthcare industry. I'm joined by two amazing gentlemen. We've got Jason and Jan. And Jan is from CareCo Solutions and Jason from MedicAi. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hi, Dietmar. Thank you for having us.
Great, yeah, awesome. Jan, tell us a little bit about your product.
CareCo Solutions was really born out of the need I identified within the private practice medical aid industry where automated, validated coding solutions is not readily available. What I did is I created an environment called MedCascade that actually incorporates all different medical disciplines, coding frameworks, and it does real-time validation of clinical information input and translates it into ICD-10 coding and RPL coding. So it's specific to the case and definitely more specific to the billing context, and all the billing rules and so forth is obviously applied within that process. MedCascade is also created to integrate with other systems, and that is where synergy came with MedicAi.
Lekker, yeah, and that leads me into Jason. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Dietmar. Excited to be here.
Lekker, man. MedicAi, that's your business, and tell us a little bit about your product, Cura, as well.
Absolutely. So MedicAi, it's a culmination of years of experience building software on the front lines of healthcare. We've seen a lot of the problems that providers face, and obviously with AI coming along, we've been able to address a lot of the shortfalls that previous systems weren't quite able to do. So it's practice in your pocket at the end of the day, and it's streamlined workflows.
I like that keyword, like practice in your pocket. That makes it a lot easier. I mean, if you think about the reality of practice management and the private practice today, it's quite conflated with the amount of administration that has to be done. Things get left out, things are inaccurate, and this is pertaining to billing, general administration, capturing a patient, from point A to point B. So what are the pain points when it comes to practice management, and framed in the context of billing, administration, and the constant risk of burnout?
I think it's exactly that. I think people have this perception that private practice is perfect. The reality is it's not as streamlined as you might think. Providers are overwhelmed. They're managing multiple different things. They have this clinical pressure because they're holding someone's life in their hands, but they're also constantly changing compliance landscape, managing staff members, worrying about the financial sustainability of their practices, and then they're carrying this huge medical legal risk.
The problem with the processes there's solutions for everything, but it's totally fragmented. Because of the fragmentation, what you have is you end up a solution for only part of the problem. And here we are within the medical field. One of the most thrown around words is holism. And it's not that I'm saying that doctors aren't practicing holistic care, but it will make it much easier at the end of the day to actually have your admin system also treating the patient holistically. And this is where the flow needed to be corrected. And that's why solutions like MedicAi and MedCascade really can make a difference to a practice.
I think it's exactly that. You end up with these fragmented systems where you've got notes on one system, billing on another system, communication sitting in an inbox or a WhatsApp thread. It piles up very quickly. And that just leads to duplication, frustration, and eventually burnout.
That's amazing, and I think there's a lot of value in kind of bringing those loose ends together and looking at a holistic approach with regards to your practices management. I mean, we know there's a lot of practice management apps out there and stuff like that. And now with the new introduction of AI, making things more accurate, connecting better, and also, just really, really putting everything in a space where you can, strengthen your data, I suppose. But we'll get to that. I think for now, let's look at a practical application of AI in practice management and healthcare today. So AI can sometimes sound so futuristic, but it's already solving problems now. So Jason, could you share how a real-time transcription and pre-coded notes with billing suggestions work in practices?
Real-time transcription and note generation, they've been labeled as AI scribes. So it's been a massive advancement in the healthcare industry, and it does go a long way to freeing up time, reducing that after-hours need for admin. But in theory, what you have is you have a doctor during a consult now who's able to be present in that consult. They're not juggling the documentation, the diagnosis, and the patient experience all at the same time. You've got AI sitting in the background, listening to the important information from that consult, and then in near real time, generating really detailed clinical notes at the end. It's been a huge step forward, but on its own, it's not enough.
In South Africa, we have a very unique medical billing landscape. Overseas, they work on different coding types, and they, in our country, we are governed by the Council of Medical Schemes, and within that, there is prescribed minimum benefits that needs to be applied, and that's a whole different rule set to what's happening worldwide. And that's why our coding system is different from what's used overseas. So there is a lot of products out there that can give you part of the solution with automated transcribing. But what we were able to do is actually to make it a purely South African solution, using South African coding rules, South African coding sets. And I think that makes it familiar for the doctors and the staff at the end of the day as well. Because when these codes are translated into script, it's recognized.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose like if you have an AI assistant like Kira, you'd prefer it not to speak Russian when you're in Pretoria North.
Yeah,
trying to connect with trying to make sure that your notes are accurate.
100%.
So I mean, basically with that, Kira is an AI assistant. Jason, can you walk us through a little bit what it can do in a practical sense? Patient histories, generating referrals. And then, you guys tell us a little bit more about it.
So Kira is the AI assistant that sits inside the patient file within the MedicAi system. It's there, it's ready. If it's before a consult, after a consult, weeks later when you're seeing the patient again. Let's say I'm going to see a patient now for follow-up that I operated on 6 months ago. I've got this patient file. It's got the notes from the first consultation. It's got the blood results, the lab results, the ward round notes, the X-rays, everything that happened in that journey with that patient up until now. And now it's 6 months later, and I need to see this person. I need to read through all of that documentation before the consultation so that I'm up to speed. Now with Cura and its context awareness of that patient, open the file, go into Cura. Within seconds, I've got a 2-paragraph summary of all the important information from that file, and I walk into a consult clear and focused. Outside of that scenario, it's able to do other things. Kira can analyze trends on blood results over a time range, or generate your referral letter that you need.
And how it actually is beneficial for the patient as well. Now, it doesn't take the doctor 10 minutes to go through a thick file. It's all in the palm of his hands. It can be summarized within 10 or 5 bullet points. And this doctor is ready to see the patient. As we know that doctors' consulting times are limited, all of a sudden now he knows he doesn't have the burden of all that admin just after seeing the patient. Now, all of a sudden, that 15 minutes or that 30-minute slot becomes 15 minutes or 30 minutes of patient care. Whereas it does become, unfortunately, because I have to do paperwork, it cuts the patient contact time in half, because they need to take that into consideration as well, that they need to do the paperwork. So that is where it comes back to the patient, is the care improves, the quality of care improves, because the doctor's mind is at ease.
And I think for the providers that currently refuse to compromise on that patient care, they end up with this massive take-home admin burden, and they're up all night trying to remember what was discussed 6-7 hours ago, document it in a way that they're medical legally safe, or that in 6 months' time they can go back and read what they wrote down and have a clear picture of what the story was.
And from a billing accuracy point is, now 7 hours down the line, the doctor must, what did I do for that patient? But real-time transcribing is, as he's talking about it, the AI picks up, he gave the patient an injection, or whatever procedure within the room, or seeing a patient in the hospital, saying, okay, tomorrow you will be going for your appendectomy. It picks up all of those little nuances, and then when the doctor actually goes through that file again on MedicAi, all of a sudden this code suggestion pops up. And as a reminder, oh yes, I need to add this diagnosis, I need to add this tariff code at the end of the day. And it's not just about getting his billing perfect. It is giving him the opportunity to know that he already has laid out a treatment plan for the patient in his head. Now it's laid out in script.
Amazing.
And I think further to that, there's important information that can easily be missed. Things like a discussion about an allergy to penicillin.
Yes.
Did you remember to jot that down while you were juggling the diagnosis and the this and the that? So now we have the allergies. We have all of that important information, which benefits later. When it comes time to put together the digital prescription, we're able to flag that, this patient is actually allergic to that ingredient. Or they mentioned in the consult that they were on this medicine, and now you're trying to prescribe something that's, has an indication with that. So, yeah, it's about backup, I think, at the end of the day.
It's truly having a assistant sitting in the corner of your room and just nodding and affirming what you're doing is correct, and now and again just putting up the hand and saying, excuse me.
So with new technology, and I'm diverting just for a moment, what does Cura look like? Is it the hot nurse, or that sits in the corner, or is it a handsome male nurse in the other corner? Or how does that work?
I think it's up to your imagination at the end of the day. I've got my vision of what Cura is, obviously. There's a personality for sure.
100%.
But it's unique to everyone.
AI is behavioral. All of a sudden, this doctor's assistant is becoming a type of clone of the way he thinks, the way he talks, the way he reasons. For me, it's maybe not a nurse in the corner, but it's maybe a little mini me that's sitting there. Yeah, it's just like having an extra brain all of a sudden.
Yeah, sometimes, we all get to that point where we want to, duplicate ourselves, to do more, be more efficient, and take more on. And I suppose that leads to burnout. Now you've got Cura that kind of takes that burden away for the doctor. And I think that's pretty cool. I mean, I actually wanted to discuss a little bit of billing as well, and AI-powered billing and coding. So of course, admin doesn't end with clinical notes. Billing and coding can make or break a practice. How does AI automate code suggestions and flag errors? And this is the thing, it has to be quite accurate. So obviously when it's listening to you, it needs to be quite accurate in terms, otherwise you're giving somebody penicillin when you shouldn't give them penicillin, you know? And then can you guys examine how audit trials make billing and transparent and defensible for doctors? Yeah.
From the billing side, it's really, the automation allows validation. That's it. And within a real scenario, meaning that you're not taking a general view of a patient with, let's say, hypertensive. this is the textbook way of treating that condition. Yes, that's true. But Jan's hypertension and Jason's hypertension is two different conditions actually. Might be the same ICD-10 or diagnosis code, but it built up differently. Jason has a stressful life that contributed to his, but Jan has a genetic cardiac condition. So now all of a sudden with this real-time type of real-time coding and validation, all of a sudden the coding is doing what coding was intended to do. We must always remember that coding has always been designed since the beginning of time almost to tell a story. Okay. And so now the doctor is able to tell Jan's story and Jason's story. And that coding translates in the medical aid field within their systems at the end of the day. This makes sense because it started with the headache and then there was depression involved. And all of a sudden this patient has hypertension, just as a very layman explanation on that. So it makes it much more sensical then for the medical aid to know, oh, this is why this medication has been prescribed. This is why this tariff is being claimed, because this is the history behind it. But if it's just one code for two different patients, but let's say two different scripts or two different treatment plans, it raises questions because all of a sudden it breaks away from the norm, but nothing is justified. So all of a sudden you have coding doing what it's supposed to do, telling the medical story.
Brilliant.
I think it's exactly that. I think if we circle back to this admin burden that these providers face, they don't always have the time to tell the story accurately. They struggle to find the time just to document it accurately, let alone understand this coding landscape, which is a whole nother language on its own, and then understand how the coding language matches the clinical language. That's a minefield. So when you have AI understanding the context of not just an interaction, but the history of what you have for that patient, it's able to tell the story for you. Yes, 100%, you're the provider, you need to overlook it. It's not something that is automated and happens in the background and AI is going to do it for you, but it speeds it up.
Yeah, you have to take responsibility at the end of the day, because you're the doctor. The AI is a tool to be used to help you become more efficient and help you to be more accurate and to, like Jan said earlier, it allows you to spend more care with your customer at the end of the day, your patient. I know, secondhand, but my wife is a doctor, so I know how many patients she sees in a day, and it can range from 24 to 36.
Sure.
It's a hell of a situation. I mean, there's a practice manager there, luckily, that helps with the codes and stuff like that, I suppose. But I think it's such a massive burden to have interested conversations with people and care. And consider your oath as a doctor and really be there and be present, because you also have an off day. You're also not feeling great. You also, might go into work not feeling top of your game, but you've got a responsibility to care for people and people looking at you, with hunger and expectation to solve the world's problems in that moment. So getting some help with an application like this or an AI like this, is definitely something that is quite special. But guys, just a moment. Does the AI and your solution only work for doctors or?
From a specialist to a psychiatrist, there's no real differentiation because health providers all do the same fundamental task, and that's taking care of patients, and they're all burdened with the same admin. At the end of the day, for them to be reimbursed with it for their services.
In the context where you've got a practice manager and the doctor's not doing the admin themselves, what is that connection? How do you link those two? Because the practice manager will sort out the ICD-10 codes based on what the doctor's saying. So give me a little bit of info there.
So what MedicAi does actually is it puts a lot of that back on the doctor. Because we streamline the entire process, it's part of their workflow now. It's not, I'm going to jot this down, I'm going to hand it to someone else who's going to take the responsibility for the coding and the billing. It's, I'm going to check my notes. I'm going to check if I coded that correctly. I'm going to do the letter of motivation that I know this patient needs. And I'm doing that all in a fraction of the time that it would have cost me usually. So it does. It benefits the provider. It benefits the support staff that hold up this practice. It's not about replacing either. It really isn't. It's about enabling. It's about empowering. It's about streamlining.
So in that sense, you know, the doctor is more empowered. It's more current, and the practice manager in a context would be able to focus more on appointment bookings and, you know, dealing with customers coming in, or in a context of a doctor, people coming in and you know, giving them that type of care, and then.
Yeah, just for clarity, that you know, the practice manager always has the onus of not just managing the front office of a reception. It's about the back office as well. And one of the biggest tasks with the back office is making sure that reimbursements take place. All of a sudden, although they get to know the doctor's handwriting, they're not deciphering things anymore. All of this information per patient can be extracted in various formats, and now all of a sudden everything is much more structured for that practice manager, and they are the final validators when it comes to moving their codes over to their billing company. Because a doctor is not a coding specialist, a doctor is a doctor, and that's why practice managers are there, that's why billing companies are there. But now all of a sudden the practice manager's load is lightened tremendously. They can just apply their skill set, and billing takes place quicker. So if billing takes place quicker and more correctly, you're going to have less rejections, less comeback from medical aids. You're going to be paid quicker, and your practice's cash flow is going to improve.
Well, that's
the advantage of this.
That's
one
a
of the
big one.
many advantages.
I almost see the practice manager as the CEO. They run everything.
Yeah.
And you see very admin staff heavy practices for a reason. There is a lot that happens behind the scenes. This streamlines the process for everybody, not just the doctor.
But I mean, I think that's a massive solution. I mean, at the end of the day, you want to be accurate, you want to be quick, you want to be efficient, you want to help more people. I mean, I think, you know, whether you're a GP specialist, physio, psychiatrist, psychologist, or whatever, you know, you can find a lot of value in running your business more effectively. Getting paid quicker is a big win. Getting fewer rejections from medical aids is really important, because your customer, you know, your patient is your customer, is being helped. Yeah. So guys, I think the next thing is, you know, okay, now we've captured all this data, or sensitive data, you know, of the patient. You know, we know how to take care of them. We know it's going to go to a good place for billing. You know, everything. The business is sorted. The patient's details are sorted. But, you know, that data, it's quite a lot of sensitive information. So in the context of trust and security, and patient consent, how does your solution, you know, ensure compliance and security?
Yeah.
That's a long one. Second.
Eat or safe.
Trust me.
Trust me. I'm not a doctor.
It's on my shared folder.
It's on my Google Drive. That's where everything is safe.
It's encrypted PDF.
Yeah. You need the password.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, in all seriousness, you know, anytime you're dealing with the sensitive health data and you're talking about AI, I think security is something that has to be built in from day one. So that's why we follow the PAPAIA, the GDPR, the HIPAA guidelines, not just for compliance. I think doctors and patients alike, they both want their data secure. So It's about being baked in from the beginning, and it's something that's front of mind in every single development iteration. Then from a consenting point of view, and that's something that we've worked really hard on, is these digital consent processes. And it's not just another template form, it's dynamic. It's something that includes the risks that were discussed in the consultation. And then you've got a system backing you up in that where, if you discussed a procedure in a consultation and the consent was never sent, it's going to flag that. Or you sent the consent, but the patient never signed it. It's going to flag that too. That's how you build confidence. It's through accountability and transparency built within the system.
Yeah, another part of the consenting process within MedicAi that's very important is we are using AI now. We are actually making recordings and transcribing what you're saying in real life. So you, as a patient, you need to give consent for it. And if there's no consent, then obviously the transcription can be affected. But that's also managed within the system in scenarios like that.
And that's where I circle back to what I said in the beginning about the AI scribe is just the beginning. If you use that as a standalone system, you end up with more problems to solve in the long run. Where am I storing this information? Did I get consent to record in the first place? Am I opening myself up to medical legal risks? So it's really about having a solution where everything is baked into one.
Oh, fantastic. In short, the future of private practice, and then we're going to move to a close. So who wants to take that one?
Medical care is becoming expensive, especially within the private sector. And there's a lot of looming projects that's happening on the government side as well. Sustainability for a practice is going to become, let's find a way that we can quantify with quality. And this is what AI is going to allow. We're going to have more nuclear practices. This is what I see the future to be. The doctors are going to be able to work more on their own with the hand-chosen staff. With AI allowing them the support they're getting now, we will actually start seeing where doctors are moving away a bit from the major centers and actually spreading their knowledge and their skill set within the rest of the country, because they're going to feel more comfortable with it because they have this assistant with them the whole time. I really see that the future with AI in the medical field is that it is going to allow, at the end of the day, more people exposure to better care.
Fantastic.
I think it's exactly that. I see AI as an invisible assistant within a practice, where it's not more tools bolted onto more tools, bolted onto more tools. It's a tool that covers the entire workflow, and AI is there assisting the entire practice in real time. It's about empowerment. It's about streamlining processes. It's about giving providers and staff their time back. And I think if we can do that, we're not just changing software development. We're not changing software, but we're really changing healthcare.
Oh, fantastic. I love it. And I'm looking forward to the future, especially with guys like you, ready to push the boundaries. Just lastly, for the customers, if they want, or for people who want to contact you, where do they go? What do they do?
Anyone that's interested in MedicAi can reach out on our website. It's medicai.co.za. Join one of our free online demos and take advantage of a trial period as well.
Cool.
Yes.
Where can they get this trial period?
Join one of the demos on our website, and we'll put you in touch with someone from our sales team, and they'll be able to help you get signed up.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining us today here on the Tim podcast at JLT Spotlight. And it was an absolute pleasure having you guys. Well, looking forward to what's happening in the future with you guys. We'll keep in touch. And thank you.
Thank you for having us here.
Thanks, Dietmar.
Really appreciate it.
Lekker.
Awesome.
Cool. Guys, see you next time. Watch the space. A lot happening. And JLT Spotlight's here to stay. Check it out on the Tim podcast. Blessings.